the way the numbers shake out for the NFL reality, if you've been a part of this channel, you know last year only 25% of starting quarterbacks played all 17 games. So more often than not, you're going to play your backup quarterback at some point. And as we head to training camp, all eyes will be on the group of guys under center. Yes, the quarterback position in particular, that number 1 overall pick, Bryce Young. So in this video today, we're going to do another installment in the camp roster evaluation series for the Carolina Panthers. And we're going to talk about those quarterbacks here. But before we get into that, let me introduce myself. My name is Aaron Duncan here with the Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk. Recap and analysis of Carolina is what I do here. So give this video a thumbs up, first of all. Second, hit that subscribe button down below to keep up with more Panthers news and content. I will be at training camp giving you that recap and behind the scenes look of what's going on there. If you can't lay your eyes on there, it's a must that you subscribe to the channel. I'm just going to let you know right now, because if you've been around for a while, you know how I get down. So you can ask about your boy when it comes to the behind the scenes training camp stuff. Just look at my videos from last year from the Baker Mayfield stuff. So I will be all over practice and be there in training camp to give you guys that insight. So make sure you are subscribed. But let me know down below in the comments, what are you most excited about in terms of our quarterbacks? Of course, Bryce Young, but what specifically are you excited to see about Bryce Young in terms of training camp and the season going forward? Let me know. But taking a look at the depth chart, we know Bryce Young was moved to that quarterback 1 during the OTAs and offseason program officially. Yes, QB number 9 is QB1 now. It did not take long for him to attain that starting position. They didn't want to put too much pressure on him initially, so they had him as quarterback 2 coming out. It makes sense. He had to do an interview probably every other day, being the number 1 overall pick, had to travel for the NFLPA things. He had all kind of meetings and stuff and press runs that he had to do. I understand them not wanting to put too much on his plate as far as being quarterback 1, but obviously with the mental processing and all that, how brilliant he is as a quarterback and as a football mind that we've all heard about, it wasn't going to take long for him to catch up and get up to speed. This guy loves to play ball. He's putting in that extra work, putting in time with the wide receivers. I know he's putting in time in that playbook. He's been all about being football, football, football. That's exactly what you want to be for the guy who's going to be the future of your franchise. So quarterback 1, obviously, is Bryce Young. QB2, we know Andy Dalton. We brought him in as the free agent, a great veteran piece. The way the numbers shake out for the NFL reality, if you've been a part of this channel, you know last year only 25% of starting quarterbacks played all 17 games. So more often than not, you're going to play your backup quarterback at some point. And having Andy Dalton, who's a former starter for the Saints, had a fairly decent record, had them fairly competitive down the stretch, just as competitive as the Panthers per se in terms of making the playoffs. It's good to have a guy that could probably get you a win in a spot if you need it. And obviously quarterback 3, none other than Matt Corral. Matt Corral coming off that Liz Frank injury. We'll talk about him a little bit more later. But we have our 3 quarterbacks. Will they bring in another camp arm possibly to give these guys some relief? Possibly. Now, who will that quarterback be? We don't know. So pay attention to that. For the position outlook, Bryce Young will be the day 1 starter. Of course, we talked about that. I'm excited to see what he can do week 1 in Atlanta going against the Falcons, and he's progressed quickly. They've talked about that. Sometimes with young guys, you have to only water down the playbook and do what you can. No, with Bryce Young's mental capability, he's been able to pick up this offense so quickly. They can give him more and more and more. There's going to be nothing that can be held back from him. I just think that in terms of the playbook, everything's going to be out there. And with the merging of Thomas Brown's philosophies with Frank Wright's philosophies, I'm excited to see what they cook up, because if Bryce Young has the mental capability beyond a rookie to be able to take on more plays, and what we heard from Dan Orlovsky from NFL Live, they can do a lot of different things, and they'll be able to keep defenses off balance on a week-to-week basis. And just with the amount of weapons that we have that are just kind of like no clear-cut number 1, who's the man, you can do a lot of different things, and that allows to be a more of, like I said, that point guard mentality, and just distribute the ball to guys and let them do work, and everybody eats. And when everybody's eating, we all getting paid and we all getting wins. So I like the way that it sounds for this offense. Like I said, I fully expect to see Dalton at some point this year. I hope it's not because of a bad injury from Bryce Young, knock on wood. But Andy Dalton, I think, is a great veteran presence to have behind him, just to let him know how to prepare. A guy that's been a day 1 starter before in his career, and a guy that's been in that mentorship role before. He did the same thing with the Bears with Justin Fields not too long ago. So Andy Dalton is familiar with this type of scenario, and I think he'll be great for Bryce Young overall and Bryce's development. And I just think they have, with Josh McCown as the quarterback coach, I just think that we have all the tools that we need to be able to put Bryce into a position to start off very well. I want him to hit the ground running, and I fully expect him to do that. that. I know the Falcons have added some pieces on defense, but I think this is a great first start game for him. It's on the road, of course, but I think this is a great first start for him to get things going. And I'll be paying attention a lot in training camp just to see how he does when pads go on, to see how fast he'll be able to hit that ground running in preseason, of course, as well. We'll get to see him in some live action there, but also in that week 1 game. So I'm very excited about the outlook of this position overall. So my player to watch for this position, I know I talked about Bryce Young a lot, but I'm going to be keeping my eye on Matt Corral. Matt Corral is coming off of that Liz Frank injury. Yes, he seems to be recovered from what all we hear, no limitations. And Frank Wright made a bold move by getting rid of Jacob Eason. Jacob Eason was here with the Panthers last year, but he's also a guy that spent some time in Indianapolis with Frank Wright, so he's technically a Reich guy, but they got rid of him in order to give Matt Corral more opportunities and more reps. They were clear-cut saying that, hey, Matt Corral is a guy that was the organization thought well enough in prior years. Let's find out what he has. He didn't really get a lot of playing time last year, only played in about a game and a half in preseason before getting injured in New England. So we don't really know if he's good, if he's bad, because he played with some marginal talent last year, per se. And I personally saw him in training camp. I did not think he was ready, and he needed a little bit more experience. However, he was spending time rehabbing, so he didn't get all the experience. But if anybody's going to be able to get the maximum amount of Matt Corral and found out what he has, it'll be this highly decorated coaching staff with quarterback minds like Jim Caldwell, Frank Wright, and guys like Thomas Brown, who have background with Sean McVay, and of course Josh McCown, who is a vet that's been in a lot of different systems as well. And with this RPO type of system and the quarterback friendly system like Thomas Brown is bringing from the Rams, Matt Corral should be able to thrive if he's going to be worth anything. And we'll see what his future outlies there, but I don't see them being willing to trade a guy who's cheap, who was a 3rd-round pick, and he's not hurting the team by just being on the roster. And we saw the San Francisco 49ers prove how crucial it is to be able to have quarterback depth. Things could go worst case scenario, like I've talked about in other videos with our secondary, but you still want to have that insurance of having a guy like Matt Corral. And just in case, he can be that quarterback 3 that you can suit up if your 2 guys go down on game day. So who knows what happens, but I'm actually super excited about Matt Corral's potential. I will definitely be keeping a close eye and lens on Matt Corral at training camp just to see how much he's progressed from last year's camp to this year's camp. You guys let me know down below in the comments, what do you expect from Matt Corral with a little bit more playing time? And do you expect him to take a step forward this year? And do you think we'll be able to really get a good look at him? And what do you think he could prove? Let me know how you feel about Matt Corral down below. But without further ado, I'm Aaron Duncan signing off with NSA Blunt and Sports Talk. I'll see you next time. Peace.